We have several of them in design right now where it's either a park space or an athletic field on top of a parking structure, because the offices that are being supported by that structure, the tenants want that. That's the requirement, and so developers are looking pretty hard at those. Add to that is, and I think we chatted about it a couple days ago, but hopefully what the sentiment is, and you see a lot of attention and sensitivity towards sustainability and towards more airflow and various technologies that can go into a building. And it's not a one-off, it's not a short-term memory, because generally speaking, our culture, we don't remember what we did 6 months ago. Well, it's probably worse for me, but hopefully we take account of what collectively we've gone through and learned at better procedures, better systems. There's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of new product. There's a lot of bright people that are always reinventing the wheel, and we need those folks because I think they're going to shed some light on how this industry moves forward and how the buildings, both outside and inside, whether it's residential or commercial, I don't think it really matters. But at least from my perspective, I'm hoping that we have the ability to look a little bit more forward. Yeah, also from an owner's perspective, having been on the development side, they're few and far between that actually will solve a problem with a design that is way out there. We've when we're doing a parking structure, we always, the first question is, how many dollars per stall? And we've seen some parking structures. There's one in Miami that's very well known. I won't mention the firm and everything. It's exceptional building, but how many people want to spend 4 to 5 times the going rate to park their car? There's some other amenities to it as well, but to your point, if you look back, at least I remember, the TV or the media niche wall in your home was a really neat thing, and then some really, really bright person came out with a flat TV and slapped it on the wall, and your media niche was worthless. Now, now you have toys or whatever else in there, and so I think that innovation and that design trend keeps changing. I agree. I think it was Ryan's statement. There aren't a lot of innovators, and they're few and far between, and they think differently and they approach the design solution very differently. And most of us, myself included, architects, is you may have ideas, but a lot of it's been done. It's kind of like a story script. Most of the stories have been written, folks. My wife's in that industry. They've been written. They tweak it. They change the characters. It's the same story, and it's a lot of that is architecture. There are some unique features, but a lot of the nuts and bolts are very similar. And it doesn't mean it's a bad building. It could be an exceptional building, but it's not necessarily innovative. I think on the facade side within our group, we see movement out of plane a little bit more these days. I think we have a little brochure out in the front there where this one building not far from here has it's a GFRC skin, I believe, and it's got these billows and it's got curves, and big picture, when you look at it, it's very innovative. Probably our engineers had a hard time dealing with it, but you don't see too many of that. You don't see buildings where they start thinking about the skin in more than 2 dimensions. And I'm not talking 6 inches of relief. I'm talking the building is starting to twist or starting to do things that you normally don't see. We're actually seeing a little bit more of that because we get a chance to look at a lot of high-rise drawings in our industry, and so I think that is a potential direction that we're starting to see a little bit more of. Pretty exciting.
So
I think for us it's similar things. There's obviously cost increases, significant labor shortages that we're still struggling with. And we probably are trying to cast a bigger supply chain net instead of going to 2 of our preferred, favorite vendors for, pick a material, rebar. We may now be looking at 3 or 4 vendors because there, some factories shut down in 2020, and it's taken a while to catch up a little bit. But the other thing that we've run into, I don't know if any of you guys have, is so COVID rolls to town, everybody goes home for a while, and everybody kind of trickles back in, and then we get, wonderful audiences. And then we start slowly emerging back. What we're noticing is actually getting your plans permitted and checked and reviewed by either usually the jurisdiction. If it's a third party, it's still pretty quick. Has gotten longer because not all those jurisdictions have sent their folks back to the office or the city facility. So we've struggled probably more on that side. Permits taken significantly longer.
The environmental, the whole rolled up concept of ESG, environmental, social, and governance?
I think that's all part of it. I think we are, for us particularly, we probably see a lot more in terms of resiliency related to the seismic aspect of it, and ultimately building owners wanting their buildings to go through through an event. I think the other aspects of it, I'd sadly to say, I think that's moving slower than we probably would all would like, but I think it's an important part for us to all take into consideration. But I don't think it's moving nearly as fast as especially the seismic part of that. So.